Welcome back to the Stephen A. Smith Show right here over the digital airwaves of YouTube. It is my honor and privilege to have my guest on with me right now. He is the former NBA Coach of the Year for the Toronto Raptors in the year 2007. He was an NBA head coach for 6 seasons. He's an NBA analyst on NBA TV, NBA radio, doing an absolutely fabulous job. He also happens to be one of my dearest friends in NBA circles, somebody that he and I go back 30 years. The one and only Sam Mitchell, former head coach, now NBA voice extraordinaire. What's up, big time? How are you, man? How's everything?
Man, another day above dirt, Stephen. I can't complain, man. Life is good.
Listen, man, on this particular day, we're getting ready to celebrate the late, great Kobe Bryant, who obviously passed away in a helicopter accident on January 6, 2020. We all miss him. We all love him. We all revere him. And they're going to erect a statue outside of the Crypto.com arena in his honor. We all know it's well-deserved. There is no question about that. But one of the things that stands out in everybody's mind is that 81-point performance that he put forth many years ago going up against your coached Toronto Raptors. As you reflect on that night that Kobe had that career night, talk to us about what your reflections are like. I mean, are they nightmarish? Is it admiration? I mean, what is it for you?
Well, Stephen, probably the first 4 or 5 years, it was a nightmare because I had that thing around that chain around my neck that, a guy scored the second most points in the history of the NBA. And then when I met Kobe and interviewed him years later, and I got a chance to talk to him about it off air. And before I can really bring it up and dive into it, he stopped me. He said, "Coach, what are you talking about? I did what I had to do that night to win the game. That's it." He said, "But I also am not, I also understand that if we would not have won that game, people would have labeled me as selfish." So he said, "I just looked at it as I did what I had to do to win the game." And I really believe Kobe when he said that, Stephen, because, it wasn't a little smirk on his face. It was just like, "Coach, I'm about winning championships. If it's not going to lead me to a championship, it's not going to make me happy or make me smile." And that's the thing that I loved and respected about him so much. He was about the big picture, the bottom line. If he had to go score 81 to win, that was his mindset, Stephen. If you go back in that game, we were winning that game until the fourth quarter.
You were up 18.
Yeah. And we had never beat the Lakers in LA before. So for us, being a young team, scratching for every win, trying to beat the Los Angeles Lakers on that floor, it was a big deal. So even though Kobe was doing what he was doing, in the huddles and timeout, Stephen, I tried a triangle and 2. I played box and 1, played zone. I played every defense imaginable. And that's why Kobe had so much respect for what we did. It wasn't an easy 81 points. I saw Luka score 73 in Atlanta the other night.
No defense.
And 60 of them were easy.
No difference. 60 of them is a layup line. It was embarrassing what the Atlanta Hawks was doing against Luka when he dropped 73 on them the other night. But going back to what you were just saying about Kobe, when you and I talked about it years ago, because people like Jalen Rose was on the squad and he would take some heat because somebody would say, Kobe dropped 81 on you and they did a commercial together and all this stuff. It was a lot of fun, back in the day. But as you explained, and as Jalen Rose thoroughly explained, it wasn't one person. You tried everything. So from a basketball perspective, put in the detail exactly what you employed to neutralize Kobe Bryant and the bodies that you put in front of him to try to pull it off, because Chris Bosh was on that team too, and how it just didn't work.
Stephen, everybody who played in that game got a piece of that 81. Even some of the coaches, because they were throwing ideas at me that we were trying. We all took a bite of that 81 that night because we threw everything at him. Because at the end of the day, we wanted to win the game. And Jalen was right. We played box and 1. Stephen, I had not remembered a triangle and 2 since high school and college. Wow. I employed that from memory because it was played against me in my small conference at Mercer. I put Jose Calderon, and your only job was trying to deny Kobe the ball
And that did
for
well.
84 feet. And then Morris Peterson, everybody, Chris Bosh, everybody got a piece of that 81.
You know, and as you reflect on it, I mean, again, we've seen, back in the day, Wilt Chamberlain scores 100 points 44 years earlier than that. Since that time, nobody has done that. We've seen Devin Booker drop 70. We've seen Luka Doncic drop 73. We've seen many 60-point performances or what have you. Knowing basketball the way that you do, is this the greatest offensive performance you've ever seen in your lifetime?
It was that I've seen, Stephen, because the difficulty. I mean, he was picking up his dribble and we was crowding. And he was giving us 3-4 pump fakes and turning around, spinning around, shooting fadeaway jump shots. I've never seen a guy make so many off-balance, tough shots before in my life. And, man, the admiration and love and respect I have for that young man is second to none because, Stephen, people forget, I played against Kobe early in his career. His rookie year, his first 3
You in
years
Indiana,
in the league,
right? Or Minnesota? Indiana, Minnesota.
Yeah, in Minnesota.
Okay.
I played against Kobe his rookie year. As a matter of fact, Stephen, I joked with him before he passed all the time. I said, dude, the reason you gave my team 81, because you remember your rookie year, Kobe was guarding me, and I torched him in the post like 4 or 5 buckets in a row.
Right.
I was hitting him with that drop step, then that jump hook over the left shoulder. And I never forget, all he kept doing was looking at me like, one day I'm going to get you back.
Right. We're talking to Sam Mitchell, the former head coach of the Toronto Raptors, now a voice on NBA radio and NBA TV, doing a fantastic job, my buddy, for the last 30 years or so. You know, I reflect on Kobe, and you can't help but get sad for a multitude of reasons. Number one, somebody so young, gone entirely too soon. Tragically, 7 others, including his 13-year-old daughter at the time, Gianna, she's gone as well. God bless her soul. And so that's one element of sadness. But strictly from a basketball perspective, I think about the culture that exists in the NBA today. And you see the money that's being paid. You see these guys and, the load management issues that people have lamented, department, sports, the strength and conditioning side, the GMs, the owners, sitting players and stuff like that. And you find yourself on numerous occasions, particularly since so many people are so quick to allude to Black Mamba mentality, that, you know what, if that was Kobe, you wouldn't have been able to do that. You wouldn't have been able to sit down like that. You wouldn't have been taking days off. We've seen Kobe with a separated shoulder come back into a game. We've seen Kobe have a dislocated finger, have Gary Vitti pop it back in place and go right back on the court. We've seen him, even as last, when he got injured with his Achilles, we saw him literally come on the court, drag his foot on the court to sink both free throws, and then drag this foot off the court. This is what we've seen from him. I wonder, how often do you think about Kobe and you ask yourself about today's game in an unflattering fashion? I ask that question.
Stephen, it's funny you ask me that. I think about him all the time. I got about 4 photos in my office. One of Kevin Garnett with his picture on his book. A bunch of my team pictures. And I have one picture over my left shoulder with me and Kobe Bryant embracing. The last year he played, his last time I coached against him, I walked out on the floor and gave him a big hug, and I told him I loved him. And I told him, man, he made the sport of basketball better. He was nothing but an ambassador for the game, and that the way he loved and played the game is second to none. And so when I think about him, Stephen, it's not the 81 points. I think of how great a player he was, and I often think he doesn't get the respect and love. Kobe Bryant should be in the conversation of the greatest players. You look at his championships. I think he was like 12 times first team all defense.
Right.
Nobody has done the things he did on both sides of the floor. And we don't give the love. And I think people don't get the love for him because Kobe kind of rubbed people the wrong way. But Stephen, he was all about business. He was all about winning. And if it wasn't a championship at the end of the year, to him, it was a wasted year. So he didn't get caught up in the numbers of how many points I scored and those things like that. He honestly felt like he did what he had to do to win. And the thing that's amazing to me, to your point, when I hear all these young players talk about the Mamba mentality, and yet they're taking games off. And Stephen, you know this. You know, you covered the lead back in the day. If a coach would have came in the locker room and told a star player, I'm going to rest you tonight because you look tired, he would have got cussed out, beat up, thrown out. It would have been a fight. We were going to play because we love to play. Now, if you want to give me the day off, give me practice off the next day
right.
or something like that. But I'm not taking no game off. No, especially if I'm on the road in a city that I only visit once a year, because I wanted them fans to know that I was coming to town.
Doesn't that make it feel like folks have a justification to be pissed off at any player who mentions Mamba mentality in today's generation? I shouldn't say any player, because like when LeBron takes a rest, I'm not sweating that. 21 years in the league, 39 years of age. I give that brother a pass. We know that Steph Curry had injuries in the past and he always loves playing and gives it what he's got. We know that Kevin Durant ain't never taking any days off unless he really needs it, because he just loves the ball. The same with Devin Booker. He got to be real injured to be out. Russell Westbrook, he ain't taking days off. He got to be out for some reason. There's a few that you can trust. But overall, the mentality, I think that when they bring up Black Mamba mentality, I don't think they be thinking about it nearly as much as what its true definition is. Wouldn't you say?
I agree with you, Stephen. I just think they don't understand. It sounds good. It sounds sexy. It sounds tough. It sounds like the thing that you want to say. But if you're not going to live it, if you're not going to breathe it, if you're not going to put the work behind it, then they're just words. And you can look at these guys and tell, man, the work that Kobe put in. I saw a workout with him individually once where he was in the gym and working out by himself. No coach, nobody. And it was the greatest and hardest workout I ever seen an individual go through by themselves in my life. Every move he made, he was playing the game in his mind as if a defender was guarding him different every time. And when he beat that guy, he had a plan for the help defender and the next guy, and even finishing over the guy at the rim. This guy loved the game of basketball, and his focus was second to none. So I think some of these players, they need to really go back and watch some film, how Kobe played both sides of the ball, before they start using his name in vain about the Mamba mentality.
Who's the closest guy in the NBA to Kobe Bryant today, in your mind?
The guy that reminds me of Kobe when I watch him play with his mannerisms and stuff is Devin Booker. Devin Booker. I think Anthony Edwards is starting to remind me of Kobe. The fact that he brings it every night and he wants to win. And he don't believe in load management or none of that stuff. As he said last year, nobody on my team is sitting out. If they hurt, that's one thing. But if they tired, we all tired. We're going to play. So I think those two guys, for me, when I watch them play, I see some Kobe Bryant in them.
Having said all of that, the Los Angeles Lakers is the team that he starred for, the team that he's played for, the team that's going to erect the statue outside of that arena. When we think about Kobe Bryant and what he brought to the table, and we reflect on the Lakers today, particularly this season, what comes to your mind, Sam Mitchell?
Stephen, I'm still trying to figure out, on a team with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, why you still feel like you need a third star. I've watched the Lakers play to beat the Boston Celtics in Boston without LeBron and AD. That was a great team effort. Their defense was second to none. And then I saw AD and LeBron come back the next a night after, and they play a solid game and they win. I just think if the Lakers can start hanging their hat on defense, one, two, listen to their coach, because I saw Darvin Ham take a team into Boston
to the conference finals
with no LeBron and AD.
That's right.
And beat the breaks off the Celtics. So that tells me Darvin Ham can coach. What it tells me is that the Lakers as a whole need to buy in more.
They're not the best team in L.A. That would happen to be
not close.
That would happen to be the Los Angeles Clippers. I can't believe that I'm about to say this. It wouldn't surprise me at all if the Clippers won the championship.
Why are you saying that, Stephen? They're the best team in basketball right now.
They're the best team in basketball, even better than Denver.
Even better than Boston right now.
Yeah, well, Boston's jacking up 45-3. Boston's jacking up 45 threes a game. They're getting on my nerves with that. That's what I'm losing faith in Boston because of that. But and by the way, just as an aside, not to belabor this point, I respect Mazzulla as the coach, but we see the difference between Mazzulla and Ime Udoka. There is a difference. a different level in coaching as far as I'm
Oh,
concerned.
yeah.
I just think that needs to be said. But having said all of that, I'm looking at the Clippers led by Ty Lue. I'm looking at the best three-point shooting team in basketball, the best field goal percentage shooting team in basketball. I mean, these brothers are putting up points. James Harden looks all-world. Kawhi Leonard looks out of this world. Paul George is still an all-star. The Clippers are looking like they could win the championship.
Yes, isn't that crazy? The Clippers, the team that used to be the doormat of the NBA, Stephen A., when you and I first came in the league,
Right.
are the favorites in my mind to win the championship because Ty Lue's won a championship before. And for the first time, I think James Harden has been the glue to bring this team together. Remember, Stephen, for the past 3 years, the Clippers have been looking for a point guard because they wanted to take that weight off Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. And now that they found their point guard in James Harden, it frees Kawhi up and those guys to be who they are. I think that's the difference.
I got to give Russell Westbrook some love. Energizer Bunny coming off the bench, gladly accepted the role. I think he's been a leader, an unsung hero on this team since James Harden has arrived. I can't say enough about Russell Westbrook, who, by the way, played well after departing from the Lakers, played well for the Clippers last year, particularly in the playoffs when Kawhi Leonard went down and came in this season playing well before James Harden arrived. I got to give Russell Westbrook a lot of credit.
Stephen A., you're right. The Lakers should be ashamed of themselves the way they treated Russell, the fans, the organization. They didn't treat that man. That man, look, you can say what you want about Russ, but let me tell you what you can't say. He never cheats the game.
Never.
He shows up every night.
True.
He plays with passion and heart. All his teammates love and respect him. He's never disrespected coaches. He's never disrespected the game. All he's done is played his ass off every single night. And so, yeah, we all make mistakes. There are no perfect people or players. But I can live with Russell Westbrook. He can play on my team any day.
Man, my love for him has grown since he's been a Clipper because I think he's the leader of the squad. I really, really do. Having said all of that, before I let you get on out of here, what is it going to be like if the Los Angeles Lakers erect this statue, when they erect this statue for Kobe Bryant, unveil this statue, but then in the same season that they do that, the Los Angeles Clippers are the ones that win their first ever NBA championship?
Well, Stephen, most of the tears initially are going to be because we don't have Kobe with us.
Right.
Then it's going to be tears of joy because we're erecting a statue and we're celebrating the man, the player, the father, the Laker, the state of California, the NBA legend.
Right.
But then as soon as that dies down and the Clippers raise their championship banners, it's going to be more tears. It's going to be the tears that the Lakers have finally realized they're the second banana in LA. They ain't the show no more. And when that new arena get erected, with that crypto.com is going to be compared to the new arena. Think about this, Stephen A. The Clippers going to have the best arena, maybe the best team in all the NBA. Will LeBron James want to go play for the Clippers?
Well, here's my question. This is the very last question, Sam, and thank you for your time on this. The other day, people thought I was crazy. I said LeBron James won another championship, right? Look at the way my New York Knicks are looking. Now, I understand you probably have to give up Julius Randle, and I don't want that to happen because I'd like LeBron with the rest of the squad. But if LeBron was in New York and the Knicks had an opportunity to win a championship, the Knicks do have 11 first-round draft picks over the next 7 years. The Los Angeles Lakers, if you're not going anywhere, why hold on to LeBron James? Why not ask him if you can trade him, because you ain't going to do it if he doesn't want to. Why not ask him if you can trade him and get those draft assets in return for a 39 going on 40-year-old LeBron James that's going to amount to about 4 or 5 first-round picks? Because New York will do it. Why not?
I agree. I wouldn't give up Julius Randle.
Well,
but I would give him all the picks.
Because it's a salary cap going to be in the
I know
NBA. You can't keep them both. Can't be both. Yeah.
Yeah, but man, giving up Julius. See, I've always been a fan of Julius Randle.
Right.
And as much as I love LeBron, but Stephen, you may want to do it because we keep thinking at some point LeBron is going to let it go and retire. But as the way he's playing right now, it looks like he's going to play at least another 2 or 3 years. So it would be an interesting conversation to have if the Lakers were interested in doing it. The question is, would the Knicks do it?
I think the Knicks would do it. I think the Lakers would be hesitant because LeBron wouldn't want to. My problem with LeBron is, why would you want to stay in LA if the Clippers are winning and you're not, and you don't really have a viable opportunity to do so because you can't improve the team because you don't have any draft equity or tradable assets outside of you and Anthony Davis to give to somebody else? That would be my position, but that's just me. Sam Mitchell, appreciate you, my brother. Thank you so much for coming on and enlightening us and revisiting Kobe Bryant's epic performance against your then Toronto Raptors. Appreciate you. Appreciate your NBA expertise. And you know I'm going to be talking to you a whole bunch in the near future as the playoffs approach, man.
Hey, man, I just want to say this. I watch you every morning. I listen to your podcast. And, bro, it's hard to believe somebody could get even better. Then it's hard. I don't even know what the word is when you're great at something and you get better.
Yeah.
So when we come up with a word, we're going to attach that word to you, my brother, because as great as you are, you're getting better.
Thank you, my brother. Love you, my man. I appreciate you, man. We'll talk soon,
Love
all right?
you too, Doc.
All right, boss. Take it easy.
Later.
The one and only Sam Mitchell, coach of the Toronto Raptors, back in 2006 when Kobe Bryant dropped 81 points. Coach of the year in 2007, by the way. Let's not forget that. You are listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show right here over the digital airwaves of YouTube, watching the Stephen A. Smith Show live, of course. More when we come back. Got a few other things to get into before I get into the tweets and the calls. Stick around. Don't touch that dial. Back with more in a minute.